Good morning, everyone. It's 9 a.m. in Toronto. It's Thursday. We're going live with the Cybersecurity Awareness Month for month of October. This is Evgeny. It's been quite interesting week so far, and we still have 2 sessions for this week and more sessions next week. Today, we have quite an interesting topic, not a regular topic for cybersecurity. We will talk about cyber and intellectual property, basically IP and patents. And I have a pleasure to have Alex here with me today. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself and what do you do for a living?
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex Levin. I'm the managing partner of Levin Consulting Group. We are patent portfolio managers. So that's to say we're not your regular patent lawyer. We sit on the company side and manage patent and trademarks and copyrights and everything else, our intellectual property related portfolio. So it's very parallel to cybersecurity in the sense that we do provide the security for your secret source, for your know-how. We are the one to actually identify the invention, to harvest the innovation, to verify that what is yours remain yours, and also try to secure you from external attacks. When people that think that yours is theirs will try to grab a piece of your success.
We will definitely go deeper on external attacks because in cybersecurity, external attacks may mean something else. Now, we see a lot in the industries that companies say, I have a patent for this technology, I have a patent for that technology. And what I would like to do today is kind of put everything in little pieces to understand if I am an end user that buying technology, what do I care, why it's important for me? Or I'm a new vendor, I have a new idea, I'm starting my project, and should I care about patents or don't care about patents? And what potentially may happen when I start my project, and then like mushrooms, I see in other companies that are doing pretty much the same. So let's try to do take it step by step and go there. So first of all, what is the value of a patent for a company in cybersecurity, where a majority of us right now moving from hardware to software in majority of the cases?
Okay, as everything legal and everything value, it's a very complex question. So it depends on the value itself will depend on the model of valuation you're using, and it can range all the way from how much I spent to obtain the patent to how much it worth to protecting my assets. So if something that is protected will be taken from me and publicly used, widely used by everybody else, how much market will I lose? To what is the value of this patent if I sell it? And everything in between. So to the consumer side, if I'm a buyer of cybersecurity services and your sales point includes the point of your product is patented, do I care or not? That's a very interesting question. Let's establish something very basic here. Patent is a business tool. First and last, this is a business tool. So it very depends on how the business uses its patents, if at all. And pending this decision of the business, it will provide value to the customers. So for some customers, it could be, we have it patented, therefore it's sort of a kind of a status of a symbol. We are a startup, we have patents. Everybody dealing with IP, we have patents. It's, it's like, it adds to your brand value, it just sounds better.
So it's like a marketing tool in a way?
Maybe. It could be a marketing point. It doesn't have to be. Maybe it says something about your company, about your product, that you care about your IP, that you understand how IP works, that you've done something to mitigate the risks of your product infringing others. Therefore, your clients will not be liable for contributory infringement. And this is a very interesting point. Let's say company X manufactures firewalls.
Mm-hmm.
Sells those firewalls to the end client. Is the end client liable for patent infringement? Depends. In the US, there's a concept of contributory infringement, and yes, client can be sued for using the patented product. Definitely your distributor can can be sued.
So when I'm buying a technology, you're saying if I am a big enterprise and I'm buying a technology, should I ask a question if I know this solution is patented, for example, as part of my third-party assessment?
The question you should ask is whether the provider of the technology will indemnify you in case of patent infringement suit. So if someone comes after you for using the patented tech that you've bought from X, will X indemnify you and help you in some way to fight this suit off? And if X has its product patented, then it's a very good point for their sake. It means they care, it means they understand, it means they do something.
Interesting. Do you know any use cases when an end user got in trouble because they were using somebody else's software?
The distributors usually are the ones to get in trouble. Nobody is after the end clients, because end clients are just too small to be sued. But the distributor could be sued. So it depends whom we're talking about. Let's say a very big name in the industry. I don't want to use names, but a very big name coming from Israel manufactures firewalls and then sells them through distributors. Are the distributors liable for patent infringement? Yes. But the product infringing is the product by the Israeli company. So
in this case, because literally yesterday we had a discussion with a group if the vendor should sell direct or through distributor. And this is a very interesting point. For the end user, looks like it's better to buy through a middleman versus directly to be more protected.
Again, since patent is a business tool, it depends. Okay, so sometimes your distributor will not even aware to the fact that he is liable, and sometimes your original manufacturer will put in so much effort that he will do such a good job that you prefer to actually talk directly to them, and they will be probably the best people to ask the question whether you guys will protect me from infringement suit.
Great. Okay, so this is an important part that, guys, when you're buying a solution and somebody says they have a patent, think about it. Or vice versa, if you don't have a patent,
in any case, when you buy something, think that this widget that you are buying can make you liable for patent infringement by the manufacturer.
I'm wondering who is the team on the customer side is responsible on this. Is it the third-party assessment, compliance, or legal team? Who do you think?
I think it should be part of the due diligence process on the legal side, because the legal is usually the one to manage IP. So it will be a good question to develop to the legal side.
Gotcha. Let's switch gears a bit. I have a new idea, and I want to start my new cybersecurity company. Not me, I mean in general. Should I patent? Should I not patent? I know it's also take time to patent as well. And right now we see companies starting an idea and getting out of stuff in a matter of 6 months, 8 months. And patent may take longer time. How a company should decide if they want to patent something or not patent something. And also maybe they should check if they not infringing on somebody else.
So the easiest question is whether they should check, and the easiest answer and the shortest one is yes, they should. Think about it this way. In patents, we're talking mostly about countries with strong IP regime. Strong IP regime means US, means Japan, means China now, by the way. Definitely Europe. A bit less if you talk about other parts of the world. Particularly in the US, the cost of it's a very broad number. It's a very general and average number. It's like measuring temperature over the overall hospital, right? It's meaningless. But the rough number of cost of defense from infringing the litigation is about 2.5 million US.
This is if somebody sue me, or
yes, this is if you develop a product that infringes on someone else's patent. Okay, so just to defend yourself will cost you a tremendous amount of money. So this is definitely a risk that you should consider.
What is the process for a company to check if they're infringing somebody else's patent when they're starting their own journey?
Talk to your IP service provider.
What if I don't have an IP service provider? I'm just starting a new idea. I don't even have one.
So if you have an idea, the best place to start for everybody, and this is my very broad advice to virtually everybody I talk to, is Google Patents. There's a tool. It's free. It's like Google, but it's for patents. So define your idea. Start searching there. You will be amazed how much you don't know. Because there are tons of people, tons of startups. We know that in every 10, only one of the startups will succeed. But out of 10, almost all of them will file for patents.
I'll put a link here for everyone.
Because the investor would like to have an IP. It's a quite a brownie point for an investor when you're trying to come up with a round and you don't have an IP. The investor will have a concern of how will I protect my assets. You are a startup company in IT, in cyber, and software. You don't have any assets that can be salvaged if you go bust. And the only thing you will have is your IP. So for the question of whether you should apply for patent or not, it's a very good question. And most of the times for startups, for technology-savvy companies, the answer is yes. Now, what you will get and when you will get it, it's a very different question. Because let's say in very broad numbers, current pendency in the US, so you file a patent in national jurisdictions. Every patent is national. It's a different story with patent applications, but with patents, every patent relates to a single country. So when you go into US, the pendency overall is, I think it's about 26 months now. Over 2 years.
Wow.
Okay. From filing in the US Patent and Trademark Office to getting your patent granted. It means by 2 months in cyber business, it's a very long time. The business curve is shorter. So do you need to file or don't you need to file? It's a very good question. What's your business plan?
It's interesting. So I can start a company and realize that somebody else doing this because they filed a patent 2 months before me.
So when you file for a patent, the patent will be published only after 18 months, so a year and a half. You have this blackout window or gap of info that you're not aware of. You don't know what everybody else is doing. 18 months back from today, the patent applications are not published.
Okay, we'll come back to this in a second. I just want to make sure that everybody is listening aware what's happening later on. We have a session tomorrow with Fernando about how to start speaking at conferences. And we have 5 sessions next week that I'll publish later on. On the link below, you can find the sessions that happened this week. And of course, I'll put the sessions for next week as well. You can also find the link to my LinkedIn account, to the 2 podcasts I'm running. One is with Dmitry Reidman, Security Architecture Podcast, and one myself, Cyber Inspiration as well. And definitely tune in for month of October, and we'll see what happens later. But let's come back.
Cyber Cats are coming up, right?
Cyber Cats are supposed to be here all the time, but I didn't have time to go to my sister to pick up the cat. Maybe we'll do it next week.
To visit the cats.
To visit the cats, yes. The cats.
Cats
as a service.
Cats are without cyber now.
Yeah. You mentioned about 18 months. So kind of going to go deeper on this point. Pretend I'm starting a company and have an idea. And somebody else started the company 2 months before me and they filed a patent. Now, I don't know about them. They don't know about me. So basically what may happen that I'm starting an idea and if there's 2 months difference and in 16 months, I can learn that somebody else already patent the same idea and I will be in trouble legally, correct?
Yep.
Anything I can do about it?
File as fast as you can. We are under a first to file regime now. It used to be first to invent, it changed. Now we're under first to file virtually everywhere in the world, at least in cyber important jurisdictions. We are in the first to file. So file as fast as you can, which doesn't mean you have to draw a sketch or flow chart on a napkin and file it. It will not work. You have to have an enabling disclosure of your idea. So for cyber, is most of the solutions are based on software now. You have to develop an algorithm and maybe start considering a GUI that will provide, that will describe your idea. Okay, and once you have, it doesn't have to be what you will do, but it should provide the rough idea. So we are better. Our advantage is X. We have to have this X captured within the patent application. We have to give the process of how this X is being implemented. What is the system that implements this X? Again, the X is being the advantage over everybody else. Once we have it captured, we can file for an application, and the patent claim that we will ask for and hopefully obtain will focus on that X.
Okay, good advice.
And again, there's naturally always needles in the haystack. So even with the published applications, you may not discover the same applications as the patent examiner will discover and cite against you. And additionally, there are other applications that are not published when you filed. So it becomes a question of what's citable against you, what's not citable, and how it's citable. The good news, if it wasn't published, most of the chances you will not be sued for infringement.
Gotcha.
This is the good news.
There's always good and bad news. I'm wondering, because we see it a lot right now. Company starts with an idea, and as I mentioned, like mushrooms, in a matter of 2 months, there's another 4 companies that are doing something very similar. So let's say I'm a company that came up with an idea, and I see other companies right now doing the same or very similar. I may don't have a patent. If I don't have a patent, I guess nothing I can do. But if I have a patent, that I can go and search if they're infringing my patent, or I'm wrong in my assumption.
No, not necessarily. You're not necessarily wrong, but this is not necessarily the way it works. So let's take the word litigation and suits out of this conversation because it scares people and it's frightening. And literally, again, patent is a business tool, so it not necessarily will be used for litigation. Let's talk about more positive side of things. Let's talk about licensing and partnerships. So for an example, you have an idea and you start a company. You want to apply for a patent. You're not sure what happens around you because you don't know what other people in the field are applying for. But you're convinced you have a tremendous competitive advantage. This advantage is X. So you draft your first patent application, and there are lots of ways to file for patents and to build a filing strategy that will complement your business strategy. For example, if you go on market in 2 years, or if you go on market in half a year, it's a very different business strategy and it requires very different IP strategy. Okay, but let's take the simplest case. So you file for a patent application. Now you have done your patent searches. You use Google Patents, you use patent professionals, you've done searches, you analyze the search results using litigators. It's a very important point because when you consider infringement suits, sorry, I'm bringing it back, but you need to consult with litigators, with the people who actually go to court and see how things happen in court. It's a different side of profession. Those are not the same as the people who draft your patents. So prosecutor and litigator are 2 different roles. once you've done that and they cleared you and they told you that, okay, they don't see as of now, as to their current level of knowledge, they don't see any problem, and you can put your product on the market, and you already filed your patent application, so you already know what the claim you aspire for, you can start looking around, see who falls under your claim. And once you know who are the people who fall under your claim, those are the people that do the closest products to you. Those are your best partners. Those could be your best licensees and your best partners. You can join forces. You can play together. Maybe they sit in different jurisdiction, so your markets do not overlap.
Okay.
Maybe they have a complementary technology, so they have something to support you and to provide you with, and you have something to provide them with, and you can play together. And all of a sudden, it becomes a very different sandbox. You can fight over toys, but you can also share and play together.
Okay, but I think I want to kind of reframe my question. There could be two options. Let's say option number one, I started the company, I'm out with the product, I don't have a patent. Suddenly, I see many other companies doing the same thing I'm doing. Should I be worried? Should I check if I'm infringing somebody else's patent? So this is, I guess, the question number one.
You should check whether you infringe before you develop your product. Otherwise, it's too late. You already developed, you already invested in R&D, you already started the company, you spent money, and all of a sudden, then you discover that you infringe. Instead of doing it, do the search ahead of time, clear yourself ahead of time.
But if I did the search and somebody patent their patent, I will not see it for a year and a half.
Yes, but
okay,
in a year and a half, virtually most of the people will not get a granted patent in a year and a half. What you're being sued with is a granted patent. So you will only discover patent applications. You care about patents for suits, but patent applications give you an idea of where other people are heading to. So you will see applications in process, you will see office actions coming in, it's a public info, you can see whether someone is trying to obtain a patent that you should be concerned with. This is a major part of our work. We're doing those FTO searches, and we consult companies on whether the products that they will develop will infringe, or there's a change that they should implement and design around.
Okay, so you say this is the homework I need to do before I start the company.
Yes,
great.
Definitely.
What if I didn't do the homework and I'm in reality right now that I have a company and I see other companies doing something similar? Just kind of understand, do I do anything? Do I do nothing? Like, is there anything I can do to help me, or vice versa?
So you put a product on the market, you know there's a patent that you can potentially infringe. Again, patent is a business tool, so it's the question of who is the business behind this patent. If it's a small company, maybe they will not come after you. If it's a big company, maybe they will not come after you because they do something else. They're not in patent trolling business. If the patent is owned by a patent troll, most of the chances they will come after you. If the company is going out of business, they can definitely start looking into own IP and maybe sell them to trolls, and then they will come after you. So it's a very good question.
It's a gray area. Sounds like there's a lot of ifs.
Lots of ifs. It's very uncertain. It's like asking what Joe will do tomorrow. Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see that literally one company comes out with a new idea, and in a matter of months, there's another 5 companies that are doing something similar, and maybe most of them don't even have a patent. I don't even know.
Exactly.
Just something interesting to think about it.
The easiest answer to this one is actually file your patent fast. File your patent
if you have a patent. Yeah.
Well, if you have an idea. But if you don't have an idea, why are you in this business in the first place, right? If you're doing just the same as everybody else,
I guess
trying to, like, Me Too businesses are a perfect business model. Why not?
Yeah.
I
guess the question here is, everything is patented. Maybe I have an idea that's based on something else, but maybe there's just no patent in software in this case, and I don't Really, no, it's always a patent around.
Again, that's a very interesting question. So first of all, we're jurisdiction dependent. Some jurisdictions will tell you that a software patent is not a thing. You cannot patent the software. But then there will be other tools to protect your IP. So we can use trade dresses, we can use trademarks, we can use design patents for your GUI, we can somehow try to apply to protect your trade secrets. There are various ways of protecting things. In any case, the know-how will be protected. Is the question of what is the best way of protection, right? So the person dealing with patents obviously will tell you that the best tool ever is the patent itself, and I'm one. So and yes, it provides the broadest type of protection for technicalities. So it's very dependent. If let's say your solution is based on accessibility and your solution is based on better graphics and better design and better flow, maybe patent is not the right tool for you. So you're doing just as everybody else, you just package it better. Okay, maybe the patent is not the best tool for you. Maybe you should use as IP regimes. So yes, in the beginning you definitely need to talk to IP professional. Yes, your IP professional should be aware of international aspects of your business. So he shouldn't be jurisdiction specific. He should look beyond, ask you the question of what markets you will apply to. Okay, so if you consider yourself playing only in the US, it's a different question than if you go in the US and Europe and China. It's the same as compliance, right? Everyone has different set of compliances, so it plays differently. And yes, you should file if there is IP, and the IP professional identified patentable portions, or should I say protectable portions of IP, file as fast as you can. Because yes, in 4 months there will be other mushrooms growing on the same lawn, but if you filed first, you're the first one.
Gotcha. Alex, thank you. A lot of good information, that there's kind of gray area and people need to dig in and understand. Definitely like the idea when you buy a solution to understand what happens with the patent. So a lot of good advice here. Thank you very much. Anything you want to add?
The most important part that I would like people to take from this chat is that patent is a business tool. As the strategies of your own business, you should consider your business strategy first and then derive the IP strategy according to your business strategy. It's not the same. It's not a paper that you should have on your wall. It will be meaningless. It's expensive. It's an expensive tool, but properly used, it could be very beneficial to the business. And I'm not talking about suits and litigation. Again, I'm talking about licensing and partnerships.
Okay, fair. Thank you very much. Everyone watching, thank you for being here. Come tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow about how to start in conferences and speak in conferences with Fernando. Meanwhile, have an awesome Thursday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.